streaming again. Everything says it's running here. It's getting an HDMI signal and it says it's streaming. So I'm going back to live streaming. And I have an excellent signal. It's all working. So all the numbers were good, but I never found the key. So I'll have to do that later. All right. So now the encoder is working. How do we get our signal through to Chow? My problem is we've done it. They send me the words, and when I went over and tried the URL numbers, which this thing would take, it redlines it. It won't let me save it. And I don't understand, but there's a problem at Chow with that Gizmot that we go and look for. So is that really the address we're supposed to be using?
Good question. The problem is clear now. The SE 2017 SRT config keeps rejecting the settings you're trying to enter, and we've been going in circles. Here's what I think is happening. Giuseppe gave you srt/ai gizmot.com 1002 mode, caller and latency 200 Urus. But the SE 2017 doesn't accept URL parameters like mode of caller and latency 2000 in a single field. It wants those as separate discrete fields. But we already set those correctly. Mode, caller, latency 200 Manmus, port 1002. The real issue. When you try to save with just the IP 172.238.63.153, it keeps reverting or redlining. That suggests either 1. Share user changed their ingest endpoint, and 172.238.63.153 is outdated. 2. The SE 2017 has a firmware bug with SRT on that specific IP. 3. CIAU says SRT listener is down or rejecting connections. You need to ask Giuseppe directly. Is 172.238.63.153 still the active SRT ingest server? Or do they have a different IP now? What exact SRT parameters do they want? Mode, latency, encryption. Without that answer from Schuster, we're guessing. You've confirmed the AV matrix encoder works. YouTube is streaming fine. The problem is on Schuster's side, or their documentation isn't clear. Get Giuseppe to confirm the ingest details. Then we retry.
I need to compose an email to Giuseppe. We need to discuss the addressing issues that we're dealing with. He sent a note to his engineers in India, and they came back with the nomenclature that we got from Giuseppe, and we looked up the address in numbers. So when I tried to confirm with Giuseppe, are those the right numbers, he didn't know, and he never confirmed with India. So I lost the job yesterday because of the problems we're having with this. And they brought someone else in who did an even worse job than I had been doing. I get through to YouTube, no problem. But we need to get to Chow. So I need to solve this issue. And that's why we built the encoder on the Vostro 3510 so that I could change the addressing and have more control over what Chow's expectations were on the addressing. So I feel that if we can solve that by going to a different encoder with more capability than the AV matrix, maybe I can solve this problem. The other side of this coin is when we go RTMP to Chow from here over my AT&T fiber, no problem. But when I go to the T-Mobile box, problem. And it's sort of different each time. And I believe that it has to do with how my signal's being routed to Germany, to Gitmont, whatever their name is. And I need to control my delay and other problems, jitter. So I bought the AT&T M6 to use to the AT&T tower instead of T-Mobile. So I'm just trying to solve one problem at a time and get there. So the AV matrix might be part of the problem, although it's been encoding well for me for 2 or 3 years. The T-Mobile box worries me. I got a signal clean from here the day that I put in the Elon Musk Starlink and the AT&T box, but I think I was on Starlink and they saw me fine, but not SRT. So my problems with RTMP are semi-intermittent. I think it depends on the path and the delay. So SRT is my answer. Where do we go to make that solid and be able to control the coding I need to put into the parameters to make Chow happy on their
end? You've diagnosed it clearly. The core issues are: 1. Chooser's SRT ingest is finicky. Needs exact parameters, exact IP, exact timing. SE2017 can't give you granular control over those. 2. T-Mobile routing to Chooser is problematic. Path latency, jitter, possible CG NAT issues, breaking the SRT connection midstream. 3. ATT M6 is solid. You confirmed it works for RTMP. SRT over ATT should be your baseline. 4. You need an encoder with full parameter control. OBS on the Vostro Linux gives you exactly that. Here's the real solution. OBS on Linux Vostro. SRT output with full control. You set every parameter manually. You can dial in latency precisely. You can test locally, then swap to ATT M6 at the venue. You have a terminal where you can debug connection issues. No SE2017 UI limitations. Just so. Signal chain. X11 HDMI. HDMI splitter. A. YOLO box LAN. T-Mobile. YouTube. B. Vostro. HDMI capture. OBS. SRT. ATT M6. CIA user. Tonight's priorities. 1. Get that Linux iMac built. You started that earlier. 2. Tomorrow at the game, bring the Vostro Plus Chromebook, not the SE2017-3. OBS on Linux handles SRT natively with full granular control. You've been fighting the SE2017's limitations. OBS is your escape route. Want to go that direction?
Yeah, let's you're saying use the YOLO box to go to YouTube, and then we use the Vostro to go to Chow. I didn't understand the AV matrix to the YOLO box.
Sorry, let me be clearer. Signal chain. An XA11 HDMI splitter, split into two paths. Path A, YouTube, XA11 HDMI, YOLO box. HDMI in YOLO box. LAN, T-Mobile gateway, YouTube path B, CA USA. XA11 HDMI, Vostro HDMI. Capture card, OBS on Linux, SRT over ATT M6, CIUSA. You don't use the AV matrix at all in this setup. The HDMI splitter sends the same signal to both the YOLO box and the Vostro simultaneously. Each handles its own destination independently. YOLO box streams YouTube via T-Mobile. Forgiving works fine. Vostro runs OBS, sends SRT to CIUSA via ATT M6. Precise control, SRT native. No AV matrix needed. Simpler, cleaner, more control. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yesterday when we were talking, you suggested we used the AV matrix to feed the Vostro. You thought it might help the load on the Vostro doing the encoding. You think the Vostro can do OBS in the encoding?
You're right. We did talk about that. The AV matrix does the heavy encoding work, offloads it from the Vostro's CPU. But here's the reality. The Vostro 3510 is fine for OBS encoding at 720p 4 to 5 Mbps. It'll handle it. The CPU load is manageable. It's not like you're doing 4K or multicam switching in OBS.
Well, then I'd rather just leave the AV matrix out, use it as a backup, and just simplify. So you want me to go into the Vostro HDMI and we'll pick it up with the OBS in the Vostro?
Yes, exactly. Simplest path. XA11 HDMI splitter split. A, YOLO box. HDMI in YouTube via T-Mobile split. B, Vostro HDMI capture card. OBS. SRT to CIUSA via ATT M6 AV. Matrix stays in the bag as backup.
Now, are you
One
saying
less device to power.
The Vostro has a capture card, or do we need to have a capture card?
Good question. You need a capture card. The Vostro doesn't have HDMI in natively.
It has an HDMI. Is it out?
Yes. Vostro has HDMI out, not in. You need HDMI in to capture video into OBS. You need an HDMI capture card. USB device that plugs into the Vostro's USB port and converts HDMI video into a USB stream that OBS can see as a video source. Do you have a capture card?
All right, I have a capture card here, I think. It's a REI VC1080 HDMI video capture card.
Perfect. That should work. HDMI in via USB. Plug it into the Vostro. Install the drivers on Linux, and OBS will see it as a video source. Before tomorrow. 1. Test the capture card on the Vostro running Linux. Make sure it's recognized.
We're gonna test that right now, and then I'll get set up for tomorrow. But let's go ahead and set this up now, and I will run a quick test, see if it transmits.
Good. Let's go. 1. Plug the REIB capture card into a USB port on the Vostro. 2. On the Linux Vostro, open terminal and type. Tell me if you see the REIB device listed.
All right, stand by. Let me get this stuff plugged in and then we'll go through. I'm not very smart today. All right, I'm going to shut this